Our next session is the final session of the first part of day three, and it's all about biohacking. Now, biohacking is kind of a new term that maybe not a lot of you know. However, what it basically means is to use your body's natural gifts and abilities and buttons and learn how to push them so you can unleash more of the potential that your body carries. Now, here today we have Deepak Saini, that he's a coach that specializes in helping successful entrepreneurs optimize their mental, physical, and financial performance. He works with individuals who are burnt out and struggling to balance their businesses with personal well-being. His approach blends ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science, focusing on all seven areas of performance to help you maximize energy, sharpen cognitive skills, and enhance recovery. His work is customized to fit your unique needs, providing sustainable long term results so you can crush your goals without sacrificing your health. And I had the honor of working with Coach Deepak. He is a professional, an expert, and without further ado, I'm inviting him on the stage so he can share his beautiful and insightful presentation with us to help us unleash more of our potential. Deepak, the stage is yours. Welcome, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Dejan. Yeah, I joined in as a panelist. I like lost it for a second. Now I'm back. So awesome. Yeah, you can feel free to spotlight me the whole screen. That's great. Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be speaking to all of you for the third time at the SuperHuman Summit. Again, as Dejan mentioned in my intro, my name is Deepak Saini. My presentation today is titled, Is It Time, Time, time to step into next level human performance, a methodology to guide you to health optimization or biohacking. Now, the term biohacking is quite broad. Some people take biohacking to the extreme, implanting chips under their skin, injecting untested compounds into themselves, sleeping in hyperbaric chambers, or spending 7 figures a year on stacks of supplements and all sorts of devices for their home. They chase optimization like it's an Olympic sport, and the gold medal is on the line. But for most people, that's not where the real magic happens. The biggest gains come from mastering the fundamentals with precision and targeted decision making for that which will make the biggest impact for you individually to boost energy, longevity, and the physical potential beyond the normal and use them on demand. Now, throughout this presentation, I want you to ask yourself, is it time to step into your next level of performance? Why? I firmly believe that all of us as leaders, and however we define leaders, we all need to lead from a position of strength. To lead our family, our tribe, our team, our clients, we must first master ourselves and be the masters of our own body. And when I say body, I don't mean what most people would say, the physical body, getting jacked up, ripped, toned, or whatever term you want to use. I mean our physical, our spiritual, our mental, and our emotional. They all work together. No area can be neglected for too long. Now, the world has changed over the last 40 years, and that change is accelerating. Whether we're talking about the rate of disease, diagnosis of conditions, stress levels, anxiety, or declining hormone levels in both men and women, we're being told it's normal, and we're accepting that this is the new normal. Now, you're not attending this event to be normal. Trust me, you don't want to be normal. You want to be exceptional. So stay tuned to the end. I have a special gift for all of those of you who don't want to be normal, but exceptional. Today, I'll demonstrate that the biggest lever you can pull for both your personal development and professional success, one that enhances your leadership of your domain, is directly correlated to your health. And when I say health, many people ask, are you talking about physical or mental health? And I would respond, what's the difference? They're connected. We are one. They are one. Now, I have a methodology that I developed and a framework that I use, and I'm going to use that as the basis of my presentation today. And again, that methodology is called TIME. TIIME. Now, before I continue on how you can step into your next level of human performance, let me just take just a couple moments here and tell you a little bit about my journey. I was always the chubby kid growing up. At 18 years old, a time when men should be at their physical peak, I was morbidly obese. I was 100 pounds heavier than I am now. I have also always suffered with an autoimmune condition, getting chronically sick multiple times a year for as long as I can remember, even as an adult. I get sick 3 or 4 times a year for 3 to 4 weeks at a time. That toll, the toll that takes on your life, Some of you might be experiencing that right now. But in 2014, I hurt my back such that I couldn't pick up my youngest daughter, who was a baby at the time. I couldn't bend over and pick up a 10-pound baby. I have two girls, and I could no longer play with them and be the dad I wanted to be. I couldn't be the husband I wanted to be with all the pain I had. It was from this low point that I made it my mission to turn my life around, heal myself, and be the best version of me that I could be. In short, I went outside the conventional medical system, found an alternative modality, and healed my back. I lost the last 60 of the 100 pounds in just a matter of months, put my autoimmune condition into remission. I essentially haven't been sick for 10 years, even all through COVID and everything. In short, I made it a practice to take care of my body, be a real leader, evolve in what I thought I could for my health, slow down aging so I can make the biggest impact to my mission for as long as possible. So let's dig into it. My time methodology, TIIME. The T stands for testing. When most people think of aging, they just think about their birthdays. How many rotations are on the sun they've taken? I'm here to tell you that's absolutely the wrong way to look at it. Your chronological age is only important if you're waiting for Social Security or some other government benefit. What is actually important is your biological age. And can I share a secret with you? You already know this. You can't do anything about your birthday, but you have incredible influence over your biological age. What that number is for you is actually the most correlated to your overall health. It's more important than your total cholesterol or your blood sugar or any other markers that your general practitioner, your personal trainer, your nutritionist, or even your spiritual healer looks at. Unlike your chronological age, which is static, you have incredible influence over your true biological age. Your biological age is easily and highly influenceable with proper interventions and modalities that are correct for you to lower your number. Now, this is highly individualized. None of you are average. So why would you listen to average advice for the masses? Now, you cannot reduce your age, your biological age, with a cookie cutter approach that you'll hear from the media or from your GP spouting 2 decades old science. Over 10 years ago, when I was morbidly obese, over 100 pounds overweight, chronic autoimmune sickness for decades and an injured back, I felt like I was in my 80s or 90s already. If you want to be 10 years younger, you need to do the right things for your particular biology, environment, and lifestyle. Let me ask you this question. If you were to consider everything you know about yourself, what you eat, how much you exercise, how much you sleep, how much stress you have, what do you think your biological age is? Write that down for yourself. Maybe drop it in the chat. Let that be a takeaway question for you today. Let me ask you this question, and you can answer from your own perspective or just generally. What do most people actually want? Let's be real here. What do they actually want? They don't necessarily want to live to over 100 like me. And yes, I have a publicly stated goal to be a centenarian. They want to improve body composition. They want to be a little less fat. They want to have a little bit more tone to their muscles. They want a butt that looks good in their jeans. They want to get down, 1 or 2 sizes in their dress or their pants. They want to look like they did or better when they were younger. They actually want to feel rested when they get up so they can go crush their day. They want that sustained energy throughout the day so they can pour it into their business, but still have enough to be present with their partner and their kids in the evening. They actually want to feel at least 10 years younger. Eliminating inflammation in their bodies, getting rid of all the little aches and pains that keep them from fully participating in life. They want normal gut and bowel issues so they're no longer in pain, embarrassed, or running to the bathroom. Understanding your microbiome and metabolic process is another area that the conventional system is falling behind and failing you. Knowing what constitutes your microbiome is a snapshot of our immune system and your second brain, or arguably your true decision maker. How much sickness and disease is related to your immune function and thus your microbiome? A lot, maybe upwards of 80%, maybe even a bit more. Having this data allows for the precision treatment of imbalances rather than guessing and wasting a bunch of time eating fermented foods that might make things worse, or wasting a bunch of money on ineffective supplements that are probably doing nothing for you. I found that probiotics that I used to take had the wrong strains of bacteria for me and did no good. Big waste of money. But eating the correct prebiotics, the food your bacteria eat, is all I need to do to have normal bowel movements and stop running the bathroom 4 times a day like I used to. Taking it one step further, Knowing your metabolites, this is the end process of your digestion, plays a big role in understanding your overall health. How everything you're doing from a lifestyle point of view, in conjunction with your genetics, in conjunction with your medications and supplements, what is the actual end result in your body? We've all heard we need more protein, especially women, especially as they age. What if you lack the enzymes to break down the protein to the amino acids, which is what your muscles and tissues actually use? Then you're wasting a bunch of money on food you're not even utilizing for its intended purpose. After I lost that 100 pounds I mentioned earlier, after I put my autoimmune condition into remission, after I healed my back with an alternative modality, I had a renewed outlook on life. So I began taking 40 plus supplements for my vitality and longevity. It was kind of a waste, actually. I've since reduced that down to like about 15 or so. When I last received my metabolites results, guess what? I found out that I'm not producing a key neurotransmitter. And that, along with other data I have on myself, excuse me, increases my risk for Parkinson's. So I added this new supplement into my regime. Here's another question for you to ponder after this presentation. Do you ever wonder if you're actually getting the benefits of the food or supplements you take? Would it surprise you that most people stick their head in the sand when it comes to knowing about their genetics? They would rather not know what the data might say. In the history of humanity, we've never had more access to our health data and how to influence it. Most people don't know they have the access, less get the access, and even less take action on that information. We need this information to be able to construct the container of what our health will look like. In reality, with today's technology, not having this information is just, it's kind of dumb. With a proper DNA test, you get your genetic blueprint passed down to you from your ancestors for generations. And whatever it says, it's not your life sentence. Most genes can be turned on or off depending on your lifestyle. Let me ask you this. Would you get on a plane where the pilot does not have radar or refuses to communicate with the tower? No, of course not, right? What if he's 1% off? Where do you end up on your final destination? And what does your life look like if you're off by 1% on how you process proteins like casein, or your liver's poor in processing alcohol or caffeine, or you have poor methylation? What if you're utilizing the wrong diet for you or taking the wrong medications? With the DNA data, the choices we can make are more pointed and direct. It allows you to filter and sort your range of choices to that which is likely to have the most impact. And most of us do not have that filter yet. That's why you need to work with someone who knows how to analyze this type of data. Now, I have Alzheimer's in my family. I have a variant of the ApoE gene that makes me more susceptible to the disease. So my lifestyle choices are primarily directed to mitigation. And as I shared just a few minutes ago or moments ago, I'll now be supplementing, I now supplement with a neurotransmitter for Parkinson's risk. When you have this data, at least you can make a choice based on the reality of your circumstances, like I'm choosing to do. So whether it be someone from this community, from this wonderful summit, or someone else, find someone to support you in whatever you choose to do. Knowing your starting point, your blueprint, and in the construct of your life, your ethnicity, your culture, your current lifestyle, now we know you can choose to work on making changes. And depending on what those are, you can improve so many things. You can improve your blood flow. Better blood flow means less risk of heart attack, better orgasms, and especially for the men, yes, you can get erections again and improved ones. The reality is, if we utilize our data in a manner that is congruent with our lifestyle and goals, take care of our hormones like testosterone, and are actually present in our relationships, it's not uncommon that people's sex lives improves in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, both in intensity and frequency. Your genetics, your choices, and your specific health plan is going to be as unique to you as your fingerprint. Yeah, we're all unique snowflakes here. Now, if you're talking to someone whose grounding and foundation is in this realm, they don't have a freaking clue. And they're probably wrong. That includes your GP, who's like on average 17 years behind on the science, your gym bro or gal trainer at the gym, or vegan or carnivore slanted nutritionist, or your go-to energy healer or intuitive. They're not all wrong, but they're not all right either. Making healthy choices without your DNA in this day and age is it's kind of reckless and ignorant. And this is true for you and your kids as well, because you're passing it all down to them. So question, What are the genetic factors you need to be concerned about for you? What is already obvious for you, but you don't know what you should be doing about it? It should be apparent now. Our health cannot be left to chance or an outdated one-size-fits-all approach, not with tools so easily at our disposal. Having the incorrect approach can affect your mental and physical health, which will, in effect, not only affect your personal relationships, but also your business results as well. As I move on, the first I in time stands for what I call inner game, the unconscious mind, that 90% of our mind's potential that we are often underutilizing. And I know we've got some other speakers this week, this summit, talking about this as well. Now, we all know someone who we deem to have emotional issues, who have limiting beliefs. Sometimes we even recognize it in ourselves. But guess what? We all have some degree of negative emotions and limiting beliefs. Even the most successful people you see on TV or know have to some degree. The only difference is they have worked on the big rocks already, so their capacity for success is already larger. But they still need to continue to do the work to refresh. This is true for me as well. I'm a master practitioner in timeline therapy, neurolinguistic programming, and hypnosis, and I still regularly work to improve myself and clear my negative emotions and limiting beliefs from my unconscious mind. Many people have achieved tremendous outward success in spite of their negative emotions and limiting beliefs. But the question is, what is it truly costing them? Trapped emotions in our body can often lead to disease. So doing this type of personal development work not only makes us healthier, it can make it easier to adhere to the diet or the workout plan that we choose to do. As well, we can get over vices that are impacting us, such as smoking, vaping, porn, binge eating, so much more. Our own unconscious mind is such a powerful ally that we can recruit to help us achieve our goals. That is a compulsory component of the work I do with my clients. I have firsthand seen the results in both physical and mental health. But the effects take hold in people's businesses and their careers as well, with increased confidence, increased presence, ultimately it leads to more financial success. If you find you're not achieving what you should, whether that be in business, your career, or in your personal life, it's not because you're not smart enough. It's likely old patterns that are holding you back to keep you safe. If you're constantly second guessing or even feeling regretful of how you reacted in a certain situation, it's your old default patterns. If you want to change these patterns, then I encourage you to seek out a professional. It could be a therapist of some sort or a coach. You owe it to yourself to be the version of yourself that you are meant to be. Now, the second I in time is implementation. This is bringing all the data together to make informed decisions. There are 12 hallmarks of aging, and you can address most of them by focusing on these 7 big buckets of interventions: simply mindset, movement, nutrition, nervous system, environment, risk, and breakthrough technologies. So simple, right? Let's discuss some of these areas that you can sharpen to be, the superhuman that you're meant to be. And I'll keep it fairly high level in our discussion today because there's a lot that goes into it. And Dejan only gave me so much time to talk to you all today. So number 1, motivation. Why are you doing this? Why is it important to you? Well, for me, I couldn't run. I couldn't golf. It was painful to put on my socks. Forget about romance. But most of all, I couldn't play with my kids. I could not be the man I wanted to be. I feel you need a why or a North Star, because being, a true leader, really stepping into who you want to be and sustaining it is hard. It's nice to have something bigger than ourselves to point to. The shit gets really tough. I remember how sucky life was. I was so much pain. I couldn't do the activities I loved. I couldn't play with my kids. I never want to go back there. So I keep my why at the forefront of my mind. So ask yourself, what is your why? That deep down in your soul motivation, not the BS surface level stuff, like the real deep down. Okay, next, mindset. We kind of already covered that in the first I, the inner game. So I'll leave that for now. Nutrition. I'll be the first to say there's no one size fits all nutrition plan for everyone. If anyone says there is, they're full of BS. You need to take a scientific approach to your nutrition. Why? You can be a lean, mean fighting machine and be a wreck on the inside. All sorts of gut issues. I see this all the time with my clients. That used to be me, running to the bathroom 4 times a day. My gut was a mess. Things that are healthy and fine for someone else might be kryptonite foods for you. You might not have the enzymes to digest gluten, milk proteins, or others that come from plants. Depending on your situation, there may be a whole host of foods that are causing your body stress. Just grinding away, you might not even recognize the symptoms. The number one source of nutritional stress to your body is highly processed seed oils. Things like canola, cottonseed, peanut oil, or just generically vegetable oil. This is even worse for you than sugar. I've come to believe that addressing suboptimal gut issues solves a whole cascade of other issues in other parts of our body. Mind not sharp? Fix your gut. Can't put on muscle? Fix your gut. Always tired all the time? Fix your gut. Is spinach and kale an issue for you? Is it gluten and dairy or specific proteins? Is it caffeine? Or maybe your body doesn't convert your nutrients into vital neurotransmitters like I mentioned earlier. You can't guess at this. You need to test. This is your health and your life. Now, movement. Here again, you need to take an individualized approach. Would you do better with explosive movements or slower ones? Heavy or light weights? Myself, I'm pretty balanced when it comes to my muscle fiber type, with a slight edge to fast twitch. So heavier low rep workouts work better for me, and shorter races work from a running perspective. What is the right body composition for you? I almost guarantee everyone that you're carrying more visceral fat than you think you are. Lean muscle mass is super important for healthy aging, but do you understand the trade-offs of being too jacked up for your stage of life or for your overall health goals? Do you know how to stretch properly? Do you even stretch at all? Do you do any type of mobility work or balance work? Here's an important concept that many people, particularly men, ignore. Do you know how to properly recover? Now, if you're thinking to yourself, I don't do that, or I don't do that enough, guess what? You're not leading as effectively as you could. You're not being the best version of yourself that you could. Many of my A-type personality clients, they're trying to become, the leaders they want, find that they're better off physically and mentally if they trade some of that workout time for recovery time. Now, everyone's going to be different and no one needs to emulate me. But here's just as an example, here's a rundown of an average week of my movement. 3.5 hours of walking my dog, 30 minutes a day, getting some fresh air, out in nature, getting some sunshine. About 3.5 hours of zone 2 cardio, so that's about 30 minutes a day on my elliptical. 1 hour strength training. Yep, that's about all I do almost every week. And 5.25 hours of stretching and balance work, 45 minutes a day for prevention. Yeah, if you're doing the math in your head, you heard that correctly. I do more stretching and balance work than I do cardio or strength training. Why? Because I understand my body. I have very defined goals and I know how to optimize my time. If you're not leading yourself to proper health, you're not setting the example that you need for your family or other people, in your world. I'm going to move on to nervous system. And I know we've had many guests talk about this as well. We all take breathing for granted, but many of us don't do it properly. We've become a society of mouth breathers. You're supposed to breathe through your nose. Your mouth is for eating and talking. I don't have time to get into it today, but there's so many advantages of learning to breathe properly through your nose. Now, man or woman, most of us don't handle our stress well. Do you lay in bed awake at night next to your partner stressing, maybe even boiling, but not being able to reduce your stress and go to sleep? And drinking 2 glasses of wine or 2 beer nights is not a stress reduction technique, nor is binging on Netflix until you fall asleep on the couch. Have you been too busy building your empire or serving others at the expense of sleeping properly? I'm sure some of us, or someone who said this at least once. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Guess what? You're bringing that to fruition faster than you think. Do you track your sleep? I did for over 4 years to really understand what affected my sleep and how much sleep I needed to function my best. Now, everyone's going to be unique, but for me, it was between 6 hours and 45 minutes and 7 hours and 15 minutes a night, with no alcohol, little caffeine, and finishing dinner early. A superhuman gets enough rest, sleeps enough for their needs in order to be the best for their family and community. Now, I want to talk about environment really quick here. I mentioned at the top the onslaught our bodies have taken from the changes to the environment and how it's affecting our hormones. Let's be honest, this is a tough one. We can't control government regulations or what corporations do. What we can do is make sure that we control what we can by what we bring into our castles, what we bring to our homes, what we put on our bodies, what we put in our bodies. Are you introducing hormone disrupting chemicals into your home via the clothing, home furnishing, cooking, or cleaning products? Take that extra step. Use truly clean products. Vote with your dollars. Protect your family and tribe as its leader. At the very least, utilize techniques to rid your body and those of your family of those toxins. Movement, nutrition, nervous system, environment, and risk tolerance are all individual components to your evolving health plan, to your health optimization. There's no one size fits all approach. And that may mean different things to different members of your family or people on your team. Now, implementation is where the rubber hits the road. This is where the hard work comes in. This is where accountability is needed. This is where your life starts to turn around, whether this is health, both your mental and physical, relationship health, or even your business revenue success. If you had to choose one thing right now, and only one thing, what do you think you need to focus on? Is it nutrition, food, water, supplements? Is it movement, walking, cardio, strength? Is it recovery, stretching, massage, foam rolling, etc.? Is it sleep, hygiene, lighting, timing, or your nervous system regulation, breath, gratitude, meditation, or your environment, pollution, toxins, etc.? Write it down in the chat as well as for yourself. Let that be another takeaway for you, something to explore over the next 7 days. What can you implement or change? Now, moving on to M of my TIME acronym, stands for Mastermind Retreats. Now, most of us enjoy traveling, having fun, connecting with like-minded people, whether that be professionally or in our personal lives. I love those things too. That's why I bring people together for retreats to have a good time, share some laughs, recharge, and experience breakthrough technologies. Things like peptide protocols, exosomes, or stem cells. Now, don't worry if you don't know what those things are. What I'm trying to convey is that there's another level of experiences that one can choose to participate in that can not only make us more healthy, but actually does some of the heavy lifting on making us biologically younger, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, without the risk of some crazy and often absurd things that you'll hear in the media that some billionaire is doing. Proven science, not sci-fi wishful thinking. Also, many people enjoy to talk about or workshop challenges with their peers. This is the mastermind component of the retreat. It's proven to be a great blend of relaxation, nice mental health break, leadership and business building, insights and connections, as well as a physical health rejuvenation. Now, the E in my acronym, TIME, stands for evaluation. I think we can all agree it's important to have metrics we can measure just so we see if we've been successful in our endeavors. For me, that means after a period of working with my clients or working on myself, we retest some of those same biological markers to in fact prove that we've been successful in whatever the goal was, be it body composition, how we show up in our relationships, more revenue, or biologically aging backwards, which people always accomplish. So I know I went very high level here. That's my TIME methodology, TIIME. And while I have a very specific use case that I use it with myself and my clients, I encourage all of you to take that framework and apply it to your own life, both physical and mental health. And remember, they're one and the same. In your own health journey, on your way to becoming a superhuman, as well as your personal relationships. You will see how a few choice decisions can make outsized gains. In conclusion, I want to leave you with 2 thoughts. Now, 1, everything I shared might seem really daunting at first, but trust me, making slow and steady progress in even one of these areas has a trickle-down effect into the next and then into the next until eventually you are the person, the superhuman you are destined to be. Second, you might be thinking you've already mastered one or maybe multiple areas we've discussed. That's great. But until you have a handle on all of them, you're not yet the superhuman you want to be or that you could be. And I promised a free gift for all of you at the beginning. I've set aside some time in my calendar for anyone from the Superhuman Summit to book a free vitality checkup call. On this no obligation call, we're going to get really clear on your next best step forward for your health and vitality, for you to become the superhuman you're meant to be, based on where you're at right now. I think Dijon has the link. I'll drop it in a second here as well. And I'm sure the team will be sending out as well. I want to leave a lot of some opportunity for questions here. But first, I want to thank Dijon for the opportunity to speak to all of you for the third time at this event. I encourage all of you to please ponder those questions I pose to you. And I'd be happy to connect with any of you on social media. I have a ton of other additional free resources you can grab there. Thanks, everyone. I'm Deepak Saini. And again, with my time remaining, I'd love to open it up to any questions that anyone has, or maybe even Dijon, maybe you have some questions as well. I'm going to quickly check the chat as well, because I've been seeing all these things floating up and all the hearts and everything. I appreciate that, everyone. I appreciate all the love here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Deepak. And it's such a pleasure listening to you because you have like treasure trove of information that you know how to deliver to everybody
Thank
on
you.
us.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Anybody who wants to ask a question, they can freely leave it in the chat. We will answer. We have a few minutes with Deepak here. I 100% agree with what you said, and I especially agree with the last letter from the time framework that you were sharing, that you need to actually retest the biomarkers and see where you are on your journey, because they tell you if what you're doing works or not, because there are so many things you can implement. Some of them work better, some of them don't work as well for you, depending on where you are in your life. So you need to know, have that ping, so to say, to know where you are. Especially for our work together, that really helped me when we were measuring the heart rate variability, the base heart rate, and the pulse, the breathing, the bolt test. We had so many things that we used to measure just to see if what we're doing actually works. And in your brilliance, what you shared with me was so simple and easy to implement that it's even it worked like a magic, at least for me, in my opinion. It was just
You had phenomenal results. I'm not going to lie, and I honestly I was a bit surprised as well that the progress we made in just a week. So that was amazing. I want to go to Tracy's comment that she put in earlier. She said, "My doctor told me I'm roughly 8 years younger physiologically than my actual age. However, I feel 20 years older because of my back and hip pain from arthritis." Tracy, I would love to discuss that with you. I definitely book that call if that resonates with you. I have some thoughts just off the top of my head, so please do that. And I just realized I didn't drop that link in myself, so I will do that while I wait for the next question from whoever has it.
Jamie asks a question about blood work. Can we order it for ourselves?
Yeah, so definitely, if you already have a doctor, you're working with a GP, definitely get what you can. I often suggest to my clients some additional things that they can ask for depending on jurisdiction you live in, your health plan, whatever. They may or may not do it, but definitely get blood work. Now, here's the thing I would say I didn't talk about in my presentation. So getting blood work done, great. Like we should all be doing this regularly, at least once a year, if not more frequently, if we're struggling with something. But remember, your GP is going to look at, unless you're working with a functional medicine doctor or something like that, your regular GP is going to look at the standard reference range. That's not how I look at blood work. I look at the optimized range, the biohacking range, if you will. And depending on the metric we're talking about, you either want to be lower than the standard or higher than the standard. One example might be, your blood sugar levels. The standard I have, so if your doctor says, oh, you're pre-diabetic, like we need to keep an eye on this or something, you're already diabetic by like my standards. If you're just on the cusp, well, we need to watch it. You're not quite, but if it gets any worse, you're going to be in that pre-diabetic range. Trust me, you're already pre-diabetic. So that's just one example where like we can catch things way earlier, take interventions earlier when you look at it from a different lens. So Jamie, absolutely get it done, and happy to help you interpret that differently, if that makes sense. And I just dropped the link in the chat there for
Perfect. So
anyone who would
anybody
like
who
to
wants
book
to,
their call.
yeah, anybody who wants to book a call with Mr. Deepak, they can follow the link, and you can just schedule a free consultation call, vitality checkup, and see where you are on your biological and health journey. So you can see what areas might be areas for you to improve. Uh, Jamie says we can't see the panelist chat. Oh, I believe that you shared it in the hosts and panelists, Deepak. So let me
Oh,
just, I will just
sorry.
copy paste it and share
Oh
it.
yeah, I can't share to
Now.
everyone. Sorry.
So here is
There
the
we go. There you go, everyone.
here is the link. Anybody who wants to again connect with Deepak, you can go and follow this link. We will also leave all contact information that you need to contact Deepak if you want to explore more of his work. He has a
Yeah.
lot of
Can
freebies.
I just share one more thing, Dejan?
Absolutely.
I don't know how much more time we have here, but you know, I'll just share this. I kind of alluded to I said it's a fundamental thing that I work on, regardless of my client, is that inner game work. Getting over the negative emotions, the limiting beliefs, vices. Once we're unburdened by those weights, those chains around our neck that we got from childhood, or we've inherited from our family. I was working with a client right now, 8 generations back, we're going with them. Once we're unburdened by some of that, um, everything in our life just opens up. We're so much lighter. And again, anything practically, tactically, strategically we want to do is so much easier to implement when we don't have this old past patterning. So I just really want to underline that because I feel it's so, so important.
Thank you so much. Just to clarify, to Beth, that yes, the chat you're using right now is for everyone. As you can see, there is some small blue button. It says to, and you can click it, and you can write to a person individual or to everyone. Panelists and speakers have an option to write only to panelists. So that's why when Deepak shared it, went only to the panelists. But attendees and people who are in the chat, everything that you share is viewed by everybody, the panelists, the speakers, and also the other attendees. So that's for the clarification. Anyway, thank you so much, Deepak, for sharing your wisdom with us. I personally don't have any questions. Again, if anybody has a last minute question, feel free to leave it in the chat. We have a few minutes with Deepak here again, and then we go to a 30-minute pause, break, call it however you want, grab a tea, get some bite, and we come back with the second part of today, which are the workshops. See a lot of reactions, hearts coming, telling that people
Thank you, everyone. I
really
appreciate all
loved
those.
your.
And thank you, Beth. I appreciate your comments and Jamie as well.
Thank you so much. So okay, so let's go 30 minutes break. We come back with the second part of the day, which are the workshops, and we're gonna be joined by Dr. Dolores. She's gonna guide us on how to activate our inner healer.
Dr. Dolores is amazing, as is Chuck, who I caught the last bit of his presentation as well.
Yes, Chuck and Dr. Dolores have a special place in my heart as people and also as coaches because they have been with us as well as you, Deepak, from the first year of the Superhuman Summit. So
Yeah,
thank you
they,
so
they do it for me as well. And we've been on each other's podcasts and everything as well. So it's
much.
amazing.
Okay, so thank you so much, and we come back in 30 minutes.
All right. Thank you, everyone.